Recording. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Holy shit. Okay, I really wish you guys could see how many fucking takes it took for me to do this just now. But hi, hello, welcome back to another episode of the None Other Fuck You Mentality podcast. I don't know what the fuck else you'd be listening to if you're listening to this podcast. Today we have a super cool guest. This is also in person, so if you're watching this, it's on YouTube. But there's actually a person across me right now looking at me and being absolutely beautiful to the right of me. But this individual, okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a backstory about this individual. I asked her to be on the podcast and she willingly flew out here, which she's fucking crazy. Okay. I was like, bitch, you're gonna do this on your own time. Like, I'm just asking you to do this. She was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, holy shit. And she brought a friend and it's been this whole ordeal. But I do want to give the backstory that I gave her today. This is why I have this podcast, is to talk about these things, especially the situation I'm about to say. I didn't like this person. I didn't like her. I hated her actually, because she had what I wanted and she got what I wanted. And I was like, fuck this bitch. She fucking, no, I wanted it. I want it, whatever. And I grew out of that mentality, whatever. And now she's on my podcast. So it's honestly kind of hilarious because she didn't know that I didn't like her. I didn't tell her that until she came here today. And I have a crazy amount of respect. I love her work. She's an incredible person just from what I've seen on social media. So it's just really funny that she's across from me right now and she willingly flew out here without knowing this, by the way. And here she is. So I'm going to turn this over. So who are you? What are we doing? What the fuck's going on?
Wait, what was the text I sent you this morning? It was like, what? I said, how is it?
Oh, how is it?
How is it?
Mm-hmm.
That's our question today. How is it?
How is it?
How is it?
How's what?
How is what?
Who are you? What's going on?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Julie. I am the Hair Magic on Instagram, and thank you so much for having me on here. I don't listen to a whole lot of podcasts, and I've never been on one, so this will be what a treat. What a treat. And to find out that you didn't like me, you're like, hi, thank you so much for coming out here. I didn't like you. Hi. I love that. Yeah, I am out of Cleveland, Tennessee. It's a small town in the South.
Mm-hmm.
We love her.
Mm-hmm.
We love her. That is home. I own a salon out there with my best friend called Craft and Soul. It's exactly what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
We're just like, it's a really special place.
It's really cute too. You guys should check it out if you guys are watching it.
Super cool. We're back and forth on like if we want to do the full Instagram. We'll probably will. Like, we didn't want to start it like right out of the gate because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So yeah, we love it. We're really blessed. We're happy to have it. I'm so excited. I'm so stoked. I don't really have like a full spiel on. We'll get into it.
Okay.
We'll get into it. I don't really have anything to pitch. There's like, I don't have like a long list. It's like, hey, you should go check out this and check out my TikTok and my YouTube. Nope.
We do that at the end anyway.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Great.
It's after you've like gotten all like the bullshit out,
Yeah. Yeah. So, what do you want to know from me, Lisa?
Well, I'm gonna sell Julie really quick because she's not really selling herself right now.
No.
So Julie is, I don't even know how to explain it. Julie has this very, how do I word it? Artistic way of looking at hair, which I really, really value. But the reason why I was so drawn to her, and even though I hated her, is her authenticity, right? So a lot of our industry is saturated with facades and smoke and mirrors and lots of bullshit and whatever. And I think really what my biggest thing with you is how open you were about your mental health, because mental health is absolutely huge in this industry and it's not really talked about. It's not really celebrated. It's not really supported. You just have to be okay. Like, you just have to keep going, right?
Right.
And she's a part of Behind the Chair, and she does a lot of things like these big companies. However, she still is able to be who she is while being a part of these companies. And my experience in the industry was not like that. I would see artists and they would paint this picture that was fake, but they were a part of these companies. So that is why I had this perception of her, because she was a part of these people. So I was like, oh, she has to be one of those fake people. She has to be one of those, whatever. And she's not. and we have the same taste in music. We're relatively look the same, you know, like the tattoo's kind of grungy, like what the fuck ever, you know.
We do kind of look the same. I kind of love that.
Yeah, we do.
I like that we both wear our hair in a way. Like I did something for you today, but for me too. But we wear our hair the same. Like that's
just messy.
Like it's good hair. Like I can tell you have good hair. I'm blessed to have good hair, but like we don't really have to do shit with it.
Yeah.
Like
just wake up.
We're like, yeah, it's just like natural waves and it's like dreaded in the back a little bit. We're like, but we're not
because you don't brush it.
No.
I don't think I had a brush until I lived here, like in this apartment, like at my house. I usually didn't keep a brush in my
When
house.
you go on vacation, do you bring a brush?
No.
Nope.
Why?
Yeah.
When the fuck am I gonna brush my hair?
I know. Like it's none of my business what the back of my hair looks like. That's always where the dread is too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So much business. But Julie does incredible hair, and I have always just loved the way that she encapsulates this like thing with the way that she does her photography. And I actually talked about with a good friend, Samantha Harmon. If you guys don't know who that is, her name's Samantha Beauty Confessions. We talked about how some artists have that ability to capture it in a photo, and some of them don't. Her and I don't. Me and Samantha Harmon, we don't. We cannot. But you just have this eye that I cannot understand. You just boom, do it. And I've seen like videos of her in her classes, and she's doing the same shit. Like I try to emulate like the poses and whatever, and I just cannot fucking do it.
It's hard, right?
Yeah, it's so hard.
Like if you don't, I think the thing with photography, which sorry,
cough.
Let me just hack into the microphone. It's the loudest thing I'll say in this hour. But the thing with taking pictures of hair, it's kind of like taking. I don't have a background with photography. Like I had to learn everything with my camera. And it is something, like you said, it's natural. It's like you just see it or you don't. Because I can look at a photo. I can look at a photo and be like, how do you not see all these flyaways? Not that the hair is bad. It's fucking gorgeous. But people will send me pictures all the time and be like, what do you think of this photo? Like, you know, what do you think about it? And be like, I think that if you can see flyaways in person, it will show up in pictures. Like, but it's kind of a natural thing. Like when I got to Laguna Beach, I just immediately was taking all these pictures. Like you just see it. When you see things, you just capture it, and it's fun. But it's definitely something that I wouldn't say it's always natural for everyone, because not everyone was just naturally good at doing hair.
Right.
It's a strength, and you have to practice it. It's like a muscle, you know, the more you do it, kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know.
You're just awesome. That's just what I have to say.
Thank you.
That's how I wanted to sell you.
Is that how I should have started? Like, hi, my name is Julie. I am really awesome.
I wouldn't have minded it.
It would have worked.
It would have worked. Yeah. So Julie is she's just awesome. Like I said, I don't really know how else to explain her. I'm just, again, still, I think I'm still just kind of in shock that you're actually here in person. We're talking, we've been having a good time. We had like a little breakfast bouquet. What is it? What do I say? Buffet. Breakfast buffet.
Buffet.
This is bouquet. But we had this breakfast buffet, and I don't know, it's very surreal to meet people in the industry who are always open and is fun and outgoing and just like human people, you know, because we've spent a lot of majorities of our career on social media, and that's how we've met a lot of these people. You know, she has a friend here named Sarah. Sarah does hair, right? Or no?
Sarah does hair.
Sarah does hair. No, that's
really good.
That's the.
Oh yes, MG.
Sarah MG does hair,
yeah.
Right? So Sarah MG does hair is actually sitting right across from me right now. And they met on social media. I know Julie from social media. Now I know you. I know Sarah in person, so you know. But it's just weird and very so shocking to have just an individual who is so respected in the industry and someone who I respect and didn't like at one point in front of me right now. So I'm gonna shut the fuck up. Let's start actually having the conversation, because this is still just wow. Okay. So I always start with this. I am always so curious how people get started in the industry. Like why do you do hair? Why do you do what you do?
I love that question. Like I do. I feel like I wish I could sit here across from you today and be like, I always knew I was going to do hair. That's a fucking lie. That would be a lie though. I feel like hair was something I was naturally drawn to even when I was a kid. Like I was that kid that was like learning how to braid on my Little Pony tail kind of thing. It just started young. My aunt was a hairdresser, and I watched her navigate that from a young age. The old school kind of like the OG hairdresser shit, just like it wasn't easy, and they were always doing people's hair at their house. She was always doing my fucking hair. And my, like, her daughter's hair, like, she did everyone's hair. Like, then she would go to work and do it too, and then was doing our hair on the holidays, and just like,
always
it was a thing. And I just remembered seeing her do that, and I was like, I love this shit. And like, the power of being able to just switch your hair is like, it was a powerful thing. I just knew at a young age it was powerful. However, fast forward in high school, didn't really grow up in the kind of situation where I could just be a really big dreamer of what I wanted for my future. It was like, hey, I gotta make money and pay bills. Like, I've always looked at dreaming as a luxury. And I know there's a lot of people that didn't necessarily grow up with a lot of money, and they were still able to dream, like, have this big dream, and I love that. But that's just wasn't my reality. So I was like, all right, what is going to make me some money? I'm like, well, no, hair won't. Yeah. So I didn't pursue that, and I really wanted to go to cosmetology school. My best friend always knew she wanted to be a nail tech, did just that, is a nail tech. She's a badass. She's such a force, and I just always admired that she knew and then did it. And that wasn't it for me. So I made really good grades in high school, and I was like, all right, so I got to go to college. And then I'm at college, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Everything just in my life was just like not supporting that decision. So I ended up dropping out. And then I was like, I just need to work. I need to work somewhere. And so I was just working in the meantime while I was in school, and then dropped out, was still just working, trying to pay bills. And finally I just had like this epiphany. I was like, stop fighting it. Like, just go, because you're running out of options, and you don't have that luxury to just keep dragging your feet. And so I did, and I went to school, and the entire time I went to Cosmo School, and it was Cosmo School.
Yeah.
As it was. And it just was right. I don't know, it just worked out. Yeah, I'll be louder. I'll talk louder.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to Cosmo School, and I jumped into it, and I just had the mindset where I was like, this is it. This has to work. It's going to work. And if it doesn't work, we're going to regroup, and we're going to make it work. And it did.
And that was it.
It was it. Yeah.
What school did you go to?
It was Franklin Academy. Oh wait, school as far as the Cosmo School?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Franklin Academy at the time, and then I think they rebranded or they got bought out. It's like Brelaire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you graduated, went to college, and then went to Cosmo School.
Yeah. Graduated high school, went to college, dropped out after like the first month. Like,
yeah.
It's a long story, but it was just done.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then went to Cosmo School, and I've not been to several Cosmo schools, so I don't know, but I'm assuming it's a pretty small thing, like shindig. It was pretty small.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was wild, and I was one of the I was always the one that they gave like the walk-in people to, like when you start offering the services and stuff, like when you're able to be on the floor, they're like, give her to Julie. Like, which was, I loved that, appreciated that.
Right.
But also I'm like, why are y'all doing this? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Does anyone
like,
really ever know?
No.
Yeah,
no. And even the instructors were like, we don't know. We've never worked in a salon. Like,
oh my
you
gosh.
said something earlier, and I'm like, God, that makes me think of Cosmo School. It was just like, they had no fucking idea. Like, they helped. They were always there in your corner. I remember the instructors always being like, yeah, no, that's what I would do. But then at the same time, I'm like, but what would you do? You've not actually you've not worked in a salon.
Yeah.
So we were out there surviving, and we did it.
So what age were you when you went to Cosmo School?
I think it was 2012. So math. I think I was early 20s. I don't remember exactly. But
wait, how old are you?
I'm 31. Yeah.
You're 30?
I'm 30. This is 30. Yeah.
How old are you, Sarah?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I know.
I know the people that are listening to this right now can't see my fucking face right now, but what?
I know, it's wild though. Like, I feel like age is such a blur now, because like earlier you said you're 26, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it's so weird, just because what you think you're gonna look at certain ages, and then you get here and you're like, well, that's not what I fucking thought, but all right. Yeah, it's just not.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
you guys
cool.
You guys are not aging.
Do you think it's because we don't have children?
Probably.
I think it's because we have these dogs that are blessings, and they do drain us
Yeah.
for every fucking dime that we have. But I think it could be that we don't have children.
Wow. I don't know why
And
that
I'm
shocked me.
sure
but
somebody
it did.
watching this and you'd be like, is it because you don't have children?
Yeah, it absolutely
probably.
is, okay, that, I don't know, that just shocked me. I don't know. I thought, honestly,
Thank
I thought
you.
you were my age. I thought we were the same age.
I feel, so that's the thing though. It's like not even just trying to act like how I was at 26, but also I love being 31, but I feel like what I thought I would feel like at 26, because when I look back at who and what I was at 26, like I was still just really trying to figure that out. I like my 30s.
So let's paint a picture here. So you graduated high school, cool. You got to Cosmo School, cool. So you didn't start your career until when?
That's a good question. So, graduated Cosmo School. It was like 2013, I think.
Right. So how old were you then? I'm sorry. I'm so stuck on this age.
No,
thing.
God, no. I just can't do the math. I'm really stalling.
Well, that was
on
what,
it. Like,
11 years ago?
I feel
No.
like I was like, huh? 91. 13.
So that's what, 21? 21, 22?
22.
Something
Yeah,
like
it was
that,
early. It was 21, 22.
Okay.
My best friend always says we always judge timelines based off what color my hair was at the time, because I used to have like all the fucking crazy
Did you
colored-
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she was fried. It
Oh,
was- yeah,
you were
as
dusty
it should
crusty?
be.
Yeah.
But like as it should be. I was in Cosmo School.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I was like 21, 22.
Mm-hmm.
I was working at a Froyo place while I was in Cosmo
Hell
School.
yeah. Okay.
That was just by far, if you ever need a side job, work at a Froyo place, because it's self-serve and it's the best.
Yeah,
It was
Froyo
a
is the
dope
best,
job.
yes.
I was grateful for that fucking job too. Yeah. Because every other job I had would not work with me on my cosmetology school hours at all. And also, they're like, cosmetology school, you think you want to be? They just don't respect it at all.
You want to be a hairdresser?
So, and my manager at the time was just like, yeah, I don't fucking care. It's just fine. Just show up for your, yeah. I walked in there. I'd never been to a frozen yogurt place before. I was like, yeah, I need a job. He was like, great. I need an employee. And it was just quick.
It just worked, right?
Yeah, it did. But yeah, I started working at a place right out of school, because you're so hungry to just start working, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in our little town, I like to talk about this. There's not really, it's not, assisting isn't really talked about, or working under someone, having someone mentor you. None of that is talked about. That's not really, I want to say, like, not really a thing.
Yeah.
And when you do talk about that, they're like, why would you not, like, how can you afford to do that? Like, why would you want to learn how to do all these things and it helped fast track your career when you could just get out here and go fuck up people's hair?
Yep. Just throw it to the wolves. Sink or swim. Yeah. Figure it out.
It's just kind of ignorance, because it's just not ignorance in a bad way, just blissful ignorance. People don't know that, like, this is what that can do for you.
Right.
And God knows I would have went that direction had I had that opportunity.
Right.
Even though I didn't have the money, I would have made it work. You know, I would have assisted somebody, worked on my off days, just because I was fucking people's hair up. And, you know, there are some people that be fucking people's hair up and they're like, they just don't know. They're like, it looks amazing.
Yeah,
and you don't want to tell them.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, I knew. I was like, damn. And so most days were just like, I just hope I don't cry today, and I hope my client doesn't cry today. And then I'm going to go home and want to do it all again tomorrow. Yep. God. So yeah, the salon I worked at, without dragging it, it is definitely what a lot of people think when they think about commission salons. So when you hear people talking negatively about a commission setup, or why they would never be commissioned, it's probably because they had a similar experience to, I'm going to say mine and my best friends, because though she was a nail tech, we both worked at this salon. Okay. And we were 50-50, which is pretty common. Mm-hmm. That's not a problem. The problem is that we were taxed incorrectly. We were taxed. I never used the right terminology for this, so forgive me. But we were taxed as if we were booth rent. Right. We were taxed as if we were making 100% of our income. Yeah. We only make 50. Yep. But we were little newbies, you know. We, to this day, we're still just doing our best with taxes. We, we do all of our taxes, but I can't tell you exactly what I'm doing, but I'm telling you I'm doing it and doing it on time. Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Right. But then if somebody was like, yo, this is not legal. Like so many people were telling us like, Julie, this is not legal for you to be taxed like this. And me and Jess were like, look, we don't start no stuff. Won't be no stuff kind of thing. Leave me alone. I don't have the money to take this to court or anything like that. So I'm not going to challenge it. But we just kept our heads down and we grew. And I don't regret any part of working there. I don't regret, the salon owner was very much like an old school kind of salon owner. I don't even know entirely if she knew how legal that was, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, I'm not even blaming her because there's a lot of salons that do that. Mm-hmm. Am I loud enough, by the way?
No, yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So she was a tricky individual is what she was, but I'm not telling this story to talk about her. Yeah. So worked there, finally got out of it. We were there for quite some time. I actually worked there for like 4 years. And I feel like that 4 years was like a blip of time. Like I was just growing, struggling, was just ready to get through that like season of my life, which is a wild concept because 4 years now for like newer stylists, they have a full clientele, and for like 4 years they're fast tracked, they're teaching. People who have been doing hair for 4 years are teaching now. I did hair for 4 years. I was fucking people's hair for 4 years. Can you imagine? And then I didn't quit. Like I still did hair.
Yeah.
And do you know how I learned? Fucking YouTube. Like I know people are like, YouTube is not education. Well, you're not wrong, but it's what I had. And what I didn't have was money. And so I love when people will message me and be like, I really want to take your class, dude. Or I want to take y'all's classes, but I don't have the money. I'm like, oh, birds, I understand. I've been there. Like, I'm not going to sit here and manipulate you and like, well, one day you'll have the money. Like, no, you have to get there. I get it. I get it. So we got out of that salon, went booth rental. Wonderful salon owners. They took really good care of us. I was only able to do that, with paying all of that in taxes, and if it wasn't for my husband, just like had his job, probably making like, just an average income. We're just getting by. I got like one credit card and bought all of my booth rental shit, and I would pay off that credit card, and then I finally used it. I was tired of doing the same type of hair. So I finally got to a point where I wasn't fucking everyone's hair up. Like I was getting better, right? So you're seeing that growth. You're having the good days are so good. Like you've got those people that are looking at you and like, my hair has never looked this good. And you're just like, finally.
It's starting to click.
Finally.
Yeah. Like it's starting to work.
It was all worth it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so like once that was happening, it's like once we took the leap to, because me and my best friend, when we left, we ended up finding a salon where we could both work together because we thought we were going to have to like separate and that nobody would be hiring a nail tech and a hairdresser.
Right.
But it was fine. It worked out. But once that happened, I was like, and clients came to us. We were told when we left, it's like, you'll never be shit. You won't make it. Booth rental's hard. No, we made it. And I used that credit card, and that credit card was how I would buy tickets to classes. I would go to classes and I would talk about it and I promote it. Like, hey guys, I'm so excited. I'm going to this class. I can't wait to bring this back behind the chair. Like genuinely meaning that, not even just trying to be like, come see me, come to me. Right. I was excited. And I did that, and I would pay off that credit card. And I'm not saying that that's the way, but that's just what worked for me.
Right.
And then
if there's a will, there's a way. That's just how
that's it.
That's how I look at it. Yeah.
So, and then we went through that, and I was booth rental for about a year, and then we opened our own salon with it was me and Jess and two other people. Jess is my best friend. It was two other people. It was a chapter. We had that place for about 4 years. That brought us through 2020. I feel like for a large majority of, the world and for sure our industry, we figured out what we wanted and don't want. And those were the major lessons learned on that. And after that, we downsized. Right. We also, the biggest lesson we learned, we were talking about business earlier, me and Jess are fucking terrible business owners in the sense of running other people's business, like functioning, like when it comes down to it. And Sarah, we've talked to you about stuff like this before. The kind of calls you have to make when you run a salon is the kind of like, some of that shit is cutthroat. Sometimes some of that a lot of good business has not a lot of good business has emotion removed. that is something I can't do. So therefore I can run my business,
Right.
and Jess can run her business. And we have very clear like structure with everything and how we run it at the salon, to make sure that nothing will take, because we are friends first. Our
Right.
friendship,
Right.
it's deep. She's been my friend for
She's been your friend through the mud.
22 years, like very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hers first, like she's first, we are first. So nothing comes, so you gotta have good communication and everything on that. But yeah.
So basically what I'm gathering from this whole thing is that you didn't get quote unquote good until like I'd say halfway through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you fucked everything up. You fucked
Yep.
your way through the top, basically. Not
Yep.
to the top, you know what I mean?
No, you're right.
And then, you know, when you started actually investing in yourself, that's when shit started making sense, and that's when you started understanding, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think what I want our listeners to understand from this is when you see people who have a following, when you see people who have like all this stuff and whatever the case may be, Julie didn't get good, quote unquote good, until halfway through, right? And she's still evolving, she's still growing, whatever. She's still building this empire, but she didn't come right off the rip as this really amazing individual, who knew everything there was to know about hair. I'm not saying you do now, but you know what I mean? And I think now what I see with our industry now, which is so unfortunate, and this is the one side of the industry that I totally struggle with. And now I see I'm sure with you teaching classes and you teaching classes, is seeing these stylists coming into this industry expecting that they can be like this right off the rip. Right. It's not to say that they can't, but there's this unrealistic expectation by seeing us and the success that we create and all these things, that they can just have that right in the beginning. Right. And it's the thing with this is to always celebrate the bullshit and the fact that you used to fuck shit up. Like it's normal. I still fuck people's hair up. I mean, what the fuck? We're humans. We're normal. We're supposed to. And I love to hear people that I respect in the industry. I love to hear this because I'm not saying you claim yourself to be perfect, but you were never perfect from the beginning.
No.
And you knew you had to fuck shit up to get to where you are now. And it's important for any baby stylist who listens to this episode. It is okay to fuck shit up. You're supposed to fuck shit up. And it's also important to invest in your education and to get resources and ask for help. You're not meant to do this alone. And you're in these infancy stages of growing as a human. Didn't you like make mistakes and like fuck shit up in your past, right? Like, were you like toxic to a friend at one point, or like, I don't know, like yelled at your mom, or like done some like weird shit like that, right? Because that just makes you human.
It's supposed to be messy.
It's supposed to be messy.
At least a little messy. Like it doesn't have to always be messy. Like you gotta get your shit together eventually, but then it's gonna get messy again. Like growth is messy.
It's supposed to. As I have such a love-hate relationship with social media because it is such smoke and mirrors, because we're always publicizing our wins. It's always our wins. It's always our successes. It's always this grand and glorious thing. And it's not to say that you shouldn't, but what about the mistakes that we made? We need to celebrate those too, right?
Yeah.
I recently made a mistake, right? And I'm not talking about it all over social media right now because it's still really kind of, hot and heavy.
It's fresh.
It's a little fresh. Yeah. But, I did talk about like how I was broke in January. I couldn't pay my rent. I was broke as fuck. And I had to make a really big decision, right? And Julie had just said she wanted to grow. She didn't know how. So she got a credit card, got booth rented, just fucking winging that shit. And look where she is now. Yeah. So I think I'm kind of rambling. I lost my point of thought here. But the point of this is it's so important to A, celebrate the mistakes, but B, also never be afraid to not continue to make them, but also to make that big jump, whether you know what you're doing or not. Because I don't think anybody has a manual with life or with your career or whatever the case may be. We don't ever really know what we're doing, right?
No.
I mean, we don't even know we're doing this podcast right now. So,
No, we're winging it. We're winging it.
We're winging right now.
That's the best. That's my approach with this year. Like, I'm trying to get the most out of my year, but at the same time, I'm just kind of taking it day by day. That's why when you reached out to me and you were like, do you want to be on my podcast? I'm like, I do. Yeah. Absolutely, I do. And that's why I was like, is it going to be crazy if I come out there? Because I, first of all, know me. I'm going to be more engaged if we have this. Like, if we can be in person and we can just, like, really shoot shit together. But, yeah, it's your life, too, because that's the thing. and I feel like I'm always trying to remind myself and like other people in this industry is that it is a blessing that we are in love with what we do, but it's also a curse, and you have to step back and realize that this is your fucking life too. So like live it. So yeah, you kept telling me, you're like, you're so, I'm not getting any personal gain by like, yes, coming out here, but also I'm getting so much gain from coming out here. Like, cause I love travel and I love experiences. So it might not look like it, but it's like, no, this is dope. I love this. So it's something I'm doing. Yeah, it's technically our career, but it's like, this is also my life and I love that. So it's like doing more of that.
Perspective.
A little bit. Yeah.
It's all about perspective. And it's not, you can't just invest in one, sector of the career, right? You can't just invest in education. You have to invest also in yourself, because ultimately you are your job, right? I mean, I hate to say that, but as much as we try to fight it, we just are. I feel like people who are actually in love with what they do, they actually become their job. And there's such a shitty narrative, like you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be your job. You're a lot more than that. I am, but ultimately I'm a creative at the heart of this. And whether I'm an artist, whether I paint pictures, whether I do hair, my sole purpose in life is to be a creative. And this is two four creatives in a room right now, kind of yin and yanging and vibing off each other's energies. And that's also filling your cup, which then ultimately fuels you as an individual, which then creates a better career. Whatever, I digress. This podcast is over. Thank you very much for listening. But this is so funny because I feel like I'm just rambling. Let me reel it back to the point that I was trying to make with you. So you have a salon now, and it's you and your best friend, right? But you also teach education. You kind of travel around. You're bebopping everywhere. I want to know. When did Julie become Julie? Like, when did Julie become? Why am I drawing a blank on your Instagram handle?
That Hair Magic.
Thank you. I know you was Julie now. I don't know you by your edgy handle.
It's so funny because first of all, I fucked myself with that handle. You know, anytime you're like, she can make magic, I'm like, no, there's no hairstyles boundaries. So, but I made that handle in Cosmo school because Instagram was really just popping off. In like 2012, 2013, right in there. I was like, all right, yeah, let's have this. You know, the people said it might be really cool if you post your pictures of hair some. So I'll make one. And I usually struggle so hard with usernames. Oh, that cripples me. I'm like, I don't fucking know. But I did. So I made that one. And that's where that hair magic started. But where I became who you see now, that had more to do with me pouring into me figuring that out. I'd say my mid-20s was really big on a lot of that. I don't know, man. I remember it was right around the time that I got married, and it just so happened that I think I got married around, God, I don't remember the age I was for anything. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a blip. This shit flies by. But after I got married, I like had a goal. I was like, I'm gonna cut my hair after this. Like, cause I was really like honing in on like people's style and like clothes and just how to express yourself. That's when I really started to like dive into that. And I'll bring this around because I know we mean with hair, but it brought back into my industry. It did. Yeah. But I did. I cut my hair off and I went to a good friend of mine, and it was my first time ever going to her, and she was like 2.5 hours away, and she was like, why did you come to me? I was like, I love you. I love your work that you do. And I went there, I made an appointment with her, and was like, I want you to cut my hair off. She's like, are you fucking sure? I'm like, I am though. I am. I need this. And I chopped it, and I fucking loved it. I loved it. And I know that it's just another one of those moments in my life where hair can be really powerful. And so when I have somebody who sits in my chair and tells me I need change, I'm like, I feel like we're going to talk today. Yeah. Because what kind of change are we looking for? We need like a spiritual awakening, or are you going through change and you don't know how to process it, like kind of thing. Right. So cut my hair off, started playing with clothes more, just trying all these different things. I think the first mistake you can make with trying to express yourself is trying to repeat an exact look all the time, because you'll put it on and you're like, I feel like a fraud. So I was playing with different things, doing different things, still like investing in myself education wise,
pouring into me, figuring out who she is. Because that's the thing. That hair magic is so many, like, social media, like what you show up as on social media, it's supposed to be you. I can't imagine showing up on there trying to just show what I want people to think is me, because this is actually me. Like, I'm not giving you just this fake image of what it is. There's still a lot of my personal life that I choose to keep private, what I choose to.
Right.
But like you've said before, it's not always going to be highs. It's not always going to be highlights, or like not literal highlights, but like the highlights of your life. But on it's going to be the growth, the messy. It's going to be, I'm having a really fucking hard time right now. And I don't know if anybody else is, but for anybody who is having a fucking hard time, I want you to know, so am I. And if you want, DM me. Like, that showing up and using my platform in that way was really helpful. And I've honestly made some of the best of like friends and stuff that way. And so to somehow try to answer your question, I feel like my mid-20s and mid to late 20s, what brought me here was just pouring into me and figuring out who I am, which we talked about that earlier. That shit is hard. It's a lot of trial and error, and it's also always changing. But also as it's changing, it's always working towards something. It's like your highest self, like your best self. Like, it's just always talk in the mic.
Over here. Hello.
Sorry. Hello.
Okay.
I'm back. Yeah. So it's always just working towards that. And I feel like every decision I make, I'm like, is this working towards what I'm wanting? Is this working towards who I'm wanting to be, who I am, what I'm wanting to become, my goals, everything. So, yeah, I hope that answers that question.
It does, because I think the message with that is, I like the way you said that. Everything, every direction, every step that you take is something towards yourself, right? Yeah. So kind of like with the fuck you mentality, it's our whole slogan is fuck you, I'm doing me.
Yes.
Right? So I think the moment, everyone always asks this question, like, how'd you do it? How'd you become Julie, right? How'd you become Sarah? How'd you become Jess? How'd I become Lisa, right? But I think ultimately the common thread that I found with everybody is it's the moment that thing switched. It's about me first. It's not about the other thing.
Right.
Right? I suffered a back injury because I didn't put Lisa first.
Right.
That I don't know who that was. That was just like the person that was just kind of hanging on by a thread and just struggling, going through life. But the moment that I started pouring into me, what do I need? Clothing, tattoos, piercings, hair, the whole 9 yards. That's when the evolution actually started.
Right.
So the common thread that I see with people who become these quote unquote elites, right, in this industry is it's not about their actual career. It's about what work they do on themselves.
Right. And
while it is the fucking scariest thing to do to actually prioritize yourself and set boundaries for people and to actually put yourself first, that is the number one key to success. Is you cannot give 100% if you are not 100%. I'm not saying that you're ever going to be 100%, but in my world, if I'm 100% to me, then that's what works, right? Sometimes I'm at 50%, but I know that I'm 100% of that 50%. You know what I mean? It's not 20% here, 20% there, whatever the case may be. It's what step am I going to take that is going to better me in my life? It's not about anybody else.
Right.
And it's cool to hear that, because coming from not, just struggling, trying to figure it the fuck out, not knowing what the fuck's going on, finally taking that first step and being like, you know what, fuck everybody else. I'm a creative at the heart. And I feel like the universe has this really funny thing of, if you keep ignoring this thing that you're destined to do, it'll throw you for a fucking loop.
Yes.
Right? Make you drop out of college. I dropped out of college my damn self. Do all these odds and jobs. They don't work out. You get paid, whatever. All life does this really funny thing to you to just rip you out of that and be like, hey, that one thing that you keep ignoring, you have to listen at this point.
Yes.
And then it's constantly doing that. So that moment where we all get to, we're like, oh, we're doing hair, we're banging it out, we're doing things, we're doing it right. And then all of a sudden your world flips upside down.
Yeah.
And what's the thing you have to do? Pour into yourself.
Right.
That's the next step.
Yeah.
And then here we are now where it's weird, right? I mean, I know you struggle with this. I know probably everybody else in this room does too. Imposter syndrome? What? There's no fucking way that you're actually across from me right now. We're doing this. We're filming, like, we have a camera in front of us. Like, we have mics that we barely know how to use, you know? Like, there's just no way.
Yeah.
How do you... I'm actually starting a trauma program on Monday to work through deep levels of somatic trauma and figuring out where it is and all that stuff.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm very excited. And I feel like without... Oh, Jesus, there's hair on me. Without having that knowledge of myself, I feel like I can hold myself back, right? What... how do I word this? That's a weird question. I don't know how to ask this.
No, you're good.
So obviously trauma is a big thing, right? Like trauma, it's a huge thing, and it inhibits success because you can stand in your own way, et cetera, et cetera. What have you done that you feel like has been beneficial to you to help you understand that? Because now you've worked on yourself, right? Like how Julie has become this educator who, you know, is just doing it instead of self-sabotaging yourself. Like basically what I'm trying to say is, I'm sure in the past you would have been like, no, I'm not going to be an educator. Fuck no, I'm not going to own a salon. Fuck no, I'm not going to be successful, right? But now you are.
Right.
So what steps, if you can think about, how did you navigate that? How did you let it happen? How did you stop self-sabotaging?
So, like you said, imposter syndrome, it'll hold you back. Like, and it's something we all experience. Like, you have the thought, you sit with the thought, and you're like, you can pick and choose. Just that mindset right there. It's like, I didn't know that I could be like, okay, I feel this, or I just thought it, and I'm going to let that go. And that was me through like a lot of my like early years in this industry. It's just like feeling like I wasn't good enough. Just that whole fucking turtles all the way down spiral of just never feeling good enough. And then, so some things, it took that whole just me beginning to pour into myself, how I was expressing myself. That was like check one, like how I wanted to show up behind the chair. Started working out and doing all of those things and like getting mentally, physically feeling better. Like I learned the power of when I wake up, I pour into me so that I can show up behind the chair and pour into others. Just that, and repeating that day in and day out, just that healthy practice. Healthy to you, healthy to me. And so then that was it, right? Like, so I'm here, I'm showcasing myself the way I'm like expressing myself in my most authentic way, which just for me was just powerful. And I'm also taking care of myself, so my body feels good, and so I can show up and take care of others. So I'm doing all of that, and then my brain's like, hey, there are some other things you're going to need to work on.
Pandora's box opens right up.
Stop. You wonder why you feel so fucking sad all the time? Well, that's because you've just been putting that off. And so I was like, all right, we need to start tapping into that. So I slowly started to like chip off at some of that just childhood shit. And all the while that that's the thing about being a hairdresser, right? Or just doing anything. It's like all the while you're doing that and working on that, you're also still showing up and working, and like things are progressing. So I'm getting DMs, I'm getting opportunities. So every little thing, it's like I'm getting requests. People are like, hey, would you come and teach? And I'm like, absolutely not. That sounds terrible. But also I realize what a fucking ass I sound like when I'm like rejecting that. Like, because I'm like, sorry, that's a really fucked way to say thank you so much. And so I would be like, thank you. That's an incredible opportunity. One that I don't feel that I can take yet. And so there was always a part of me that's like, don't rule it out just because you're scared. So.
Ooh. Say that again.
Don't rule it out just because you're scared. Like, it's okay if you don't have to like be an educator in this career. Like that, it's not like the leveling up system in this. You can be whatever you want to. You can work whatever realm you want to as a hairdresser. Like, it's not just like working to the top of the pyramid spectrum. Like this is a corporate job, because it's not.
There's no hierarchy.
There's no. So I just knew, I'm like, you can't keep avoiding this, because I was getting almost, for a minute there, I was getting almost daily requests. I was probably getting more requests to teach than I was for people to do their fucking hair.
Wow.
I was like, interesting. And so I crossed paths with and I can't even talk about her because I think I'll cry because I just love Danny so much. She's my really good friend, Hair by Danny. She's incredible. And we crossed paths going to a class, camouflage and balayage. She's fucking goat, man. I love her.
Who teaches that?
Amy is, why can I not remember Amy's last name?
That sounds familiar. Either way.
Camouflage and balayage. She's incredible. Anyways, we went to her class. Me and Danny went to her class together, and we just rode to a class together. And there's something spiritual about a car ride. You'll really get to know a person. And we did. And we were both talking about education, how we were kind of just like neck and neck, and like where we were at. We're like, I don't know if I want to teach. This shit's scary. It's just a lot. And like, who am I to teach?
Right.
What am I gonna
fucking teach? What do I fucking know? Yeah.
Right. And we finally, fast forward without dragging this out, we finally set a date. We were gonna teach together. We're like, fuck yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll teach a class together for March of 2020.
Oh shit.
World said nope.
Said psych.
Nope.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to say this detail because we refunded everyone.
Wow.
That was a personal choice.
Good
I'm
on
not saying
you.
that not doing that was, everyone has their options, but we were like, we don't know what the world is doing right now. Take all of your money back. Like,
right.
Literally, you need it.
You didn't go into education for the simple fact of charging people an arm and a leg. You went into education because you wanted to teach.
No. So we all navigated 2020 how we did, and then me and Danny regrouped. We also crossed paths with our our star, Maddie. Yeah. She's incredible. She's just, this is why we all taught together, because we just work. We just work.
Yeah.
And I love these girls. And so we went to another hair class together like a year later, the three of us together. And then finally we got to the point where we're like, what if we taught with the three of us? And it kind of started to feel like, for a second, we're like, are we just all friends that want to do something together? And if so, what the fuck of it? Like, let's just see. And it wasn't that, because Danny had been to a 3-person class before, and she said she loved it. She got so much out of that experience, and it's the way you approach it. You can't really, well, you can do whatever you want. We didn't want to approach it on a main stage way where like you come on stage and everyone is teaching at once. Mm-hmm. Fuck no. No one's brains can process that much information happening at once now. Mm-hmm. Our attention spans are this long, and also we just can't take all of that education at once. It's a lot. So we would like stagger it in, and it just really works. So I rabbit trailed. I'm sorry. But
no,
it got me here. So my point in telling all of these details is like, it took all of these steps. Like I ended up teaching in class. I forgot this part. I did teach classes by myself before I taught so after we canceled that first class, Danny was like, we regrouped at the end of that year. We're like, dude, it sucked that we had to cancel that class, but I'm still got this itch. So Danny finally did it. She taught a class by herself, and I was at it. I was like, girl, I'm gonna be there. Mm-hmm. But mentally, after 2020 shit, like I just can't show up. Or like I'm not ready yet. So I watched Danny do it, and I watched her do it through a shaky voice, and I was like, you are a fucking rock star. And I watched the light bulbs hit in the room and the difference that she made, even for just a couple people, and I was like, I've got to try this. So no matter how scared, I did, and I launched it, and it sold out in 24 hours, and I was like, wow. Me? What? And it was in Georgia, and that is the class that I said raw dogging in the first 3 minutes of standing up there in front of a room of 40 people at that time, which turns out with social anxiety, it doesn't care if it doesn't matter if there are 5 or 10 people in front of you or 40, you're fucking shaking. Like that first class, I literally felt like I was about to jump off a cliff. I remember my best friend coming up to me, she was like, Julie, you have to start the class. You have to start this class. There are people. I'm like, they're here. They like showed up. She's like, yeah, you got to do this.
You got it. Like at this point you have to keep going.
So like I just like walked up and was like, hey man, hey guys. And I'm sure I was talking about as quiet as I was when we started this podcast. I was like, hey, okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. It's so fucking scary. Like nobody tells you what to do with your hands. Like, yeah. So
or the cotton mouth that you get.
Oh my god.
No, it's unlike any other.
It's rough.
It's like
like you go to swallow but you're choking,
and you're like, it's just like stuck.
Yeah, so my brain's like, make somebody laugh. My brain's like, just make people laugh.
Yeah,
like, if I can just make somebody laugh, like that comedic relief to where we can just all just be like, and that's what we did. And it went. And I told myself, I just kept telling myself, I was like, look, you're going to show up either way. The day is going to happen. I've told myself after all the classes that I tell myself this, like with every class that I've taught so far, I'm like, this day is going to pass regardless. You are the only thing that can change how it goes. It could be a fucking messy day or not, but you are the ones that's going to decide if this day goes well or not. Like, so let's just give it a chance. And so that's what I did. And I was just really open to like, if I needed to have a place in teaching or not, like, can I help someone, or is there plenty? Because one thing we know, there's plenty of educators.
Absolutely.
Lots of education, lots of technique education. So there's really not necessarily a demand, but I also think that there's always a place because people learn and consume differently. Yeah. So there's something that I can come up, teach my technique. Teach
it's your technique. No,
and
it's
teach
your
a
technique.
class.
Yes.
And someone can teach theirs, and maybe 2 or 3 people are gonna be like, I just connect with the way she approaches this a little bit more, but it doesn't mean that one's doing it better.
Right.
That's just how the shit works.
Yeah.
So I told myself, I was like, I'm going to teach this class. If I fucking hate it, I'm not doing it anymore. I was very open to that. Right. Like, I don't have to be doing this. And I fucking loved it. No matter how messy it went, no matter how, like, the hair came out good, everything was good. And I think I probably slept for like a day after just because of how nervous I was. But it went good.
So the key with what this is strength in numbers, right? Yeah. And what's so beautiful about the whole thing is that you tried. Yes. And you also talked about it with some person you didn't know. But the beautiful thing with that was you didn't know them, right? And you just felt the connection, and you just started. I think like the overall consensus that I hear about this, and that you keep saying to me, how did you do it? You just get started.
You just do it.
You just do it. So you just did it yourself.
I would reach out to, sorry, not trying to interrupt you.
No.
I would reach out to some educators that I've taken their classes, because in 2019, that was like the year I took the most classes. Like, I was balls to the wall. Like, any education I could get, I was taking it. I told myself that any educator that came to the East Coast, because for a while I feel like it was like a lot of West Coast. Yeah. Any educator that came to the East Coast that I could drive to, I'm going. I'm going. And I did. And I think I went to damn near 10 classes that year. Wow. Which, I don't know, for me at that time with the financial situation I was in, it was a lot. And it changed my career. 2019 was that hair magic. That's where she honed in. That was 2019. I was pouring into education. It was a lot. And in my small town, there's maybe only like 3 to 5 other stylists that was actively seeing the value in like education and doing that. And so it was like a big deal that we were all pouring into our like education and stuff like that. So I lost my train of thought. Sorry, there was a point to this. Anyways, 2019, pouring into education and going to all these classes, was reaching out to all those educators. Was reaching out to a lot of those educators, and I'm like, how did you get into teaching? Were you ever nervous? All of them except for one said, I'm just not really that nervous in front of, like, they what the nerves and stuff, like getting up in front of people is just not really a thing. One of them, Sarah May, level 10, I'm going to out her handle because she's incredible and I really, really, really love her. She would like the class that she taught, to this day she deals with nerves, and now you really wouldn't notice. She's a fucking force, like just to watch her like whole journey and stuff is really neat. But I admired that so much. I'm very inspired by somebody who can step up, do something that scares them, no matter how much their voice shakes. And they're going to do it because they love it. And I just really admire that. So I would reach out to them and ask them all of those things. All of it was the common response I got from all those educators, since I interrupted you, was you just do it. Yep. Was the point. It was very Nike. Like, you're just going to do it. And they're not wrong. You just have to figure it out.
You just send it. There's no like end all be all. There's no like course you could take. There isn't. You just do it.
You have to. Like, even if there was a course, then you still wouldn't do it by the book. There's plenty of courses you can take, but not necessarily. You just have to find your way. Yeah.
That's cool. There's something. So this is why, like, the podcast, I really only have like self-made people on here, because the common thread is really just like, you just have to send it, you just have to do it, because there's no right or wrong. But the beautiful thing too is your ego cannot be a part of this. Your ego has to step to the side and be able to ask for help, right? So collaborating with other artists to create this force of education, that's a common thread with hairstylists, is the fucking ego. It gets them in trouble. And the thing that I always tell people is to put the fucking ego aside. If you want to succeed, if you actually want to have what I have or do whatever, like me, I hated you for no fucking reason. It was my ego.
I think you should talk a little bit about that. Like, I know you don't have to say
No, I'm cool with it.
You're for sure going to need to share. Because I know as soon as we end this, if we don't talk about it, everybody's going to be like, wait, why did she hate you?
Why did she hate you so bad?
Wait, what the fuck did you do?
So yeah, talking about ego, right? So it's just to touch on Julie, right? She put her ego aside and she talked to the educator, asking them for help, right? And that was her way to progress, right? Well, my ego did not. My ego was strong. It was so strong for no fucking reason. I hated Julie because Julie had a position that I wanted with a specific brand, and she had gotten it at a time that I was kind of fighting for it in a way, but she got it. I didn't. So I was like, fuck her. I don't like her. She's stupid, like
fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. It's not that her work sucked. It's not that like nothing. It had nothing to do with the actual work itself.
Some of it did.
No. No. It was solely because she got what I wanted, but I didn't have the balls to ask how she did it. It was my ego. I stopped myself, right? So I went on and had this like weird feeling inside me about a couple of people, actually, not just her, but we're just talking about her. Moving forward, I had this weird hate for these people because they had what I wanted, and I just why would I ask them for help? Why would I ever want their help? No, fuck them, right? But the moment that I started pouring into myself and I started realizing that your ego can be your biggest asset and also your biggest weakness, that's when I was like, oh fuck, okay, it's my ego that's been getting me in trouble this whole time. Awesome, let me work on that. I have never once been a cocky son of a bitch. I've never been someone who is just like overly like, I'm amazing. No, because imposter syndrome, like a motherfucker, I didn't come from shit. I didn't have shit growing up. I didn't have help getting where I am now either. But I will say that I held that as a crown. Like, I fucking did this without help. Fuck all you, right? So why would I ask for help? Why on earth would I ask you how you did that? Because I had gotten this far without it. So no one can help me, right? But the moment that I realized there is strength in numbers and that the ego can really kill your career, that's when all this weird hatred for people that were succeeding stopped. And the community and camaraderie started. And this was a couple years ago that I finally like, hello, light bulb. And then that's why the podcast started, really, is truly that ego just disappeared. Yeah. And I realized how much more beautiful life is when you do it with people versus trying to do it alone and trying to get to the top, because there is no fucking top. And one of the greatest things that Samantha Harmon, Samantha Beauty Confessions, had said to me, she was like, I got to the top, but I died along the way.
Oh, God. Over and over again, though. Mm-hmm. It starts to feel like a fucking cat, like the 9 lives thing. You're like, I fucking thought I had already hit rock bottom. I thought I was already dead. Like, how are we back here?
How am I still going?
How am I at a new version of rock bottom? Like, how does it look different every fucking time?
Every time.
Yeah. No, but that's part of it. But it's the part that people don't really talk about a whole lot because it's uncomfy. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, just tell us.
Asking for help is a strange thing. Yeah. And even like the whole like assistant thing that you had talked about, right? I'd never assisted. I've never been an assistant. I actually moved here because I wanted to be an assistant, ironically. But that back then, it's funny because I started doing hair when I was 16 because I went to a high school that had a VOTEC and, you know, it was this whole thing. But I feel like we started at a really similar time where, you know, assistant programs weren't a thing. And yeah, it was 50-50. And it was just kind of like every man for themselves. You just
Ombre.
Oh my fucking God. Silver. If anyone ever asked me for silver, I might throw up. Okay?
I'll throw up.
We're gonna throw up.
And we're like, it's not because it's ugly. It's because it's traumatic. It's because of when we started. Yeah.
The silver hair is just, anyway. But we started it in an industry where it was truly sink or swim. Yeah. It was fight or flight. Like, you fucking do it or you don't. Right? So breaking that mindset is fixing your ego. Yeah. And entering this new mindset of where the industry is now, where there is assistant programs, right? There's a sense of camaraderie. People want to be with people. Yeah. Versus it's not my success. I'm the owner. I'm fucking amazing. No, it's how do I get my team there with me? And that I feel for people who live in the past and who live like that now in an industry where it's so different and it's so. As much as people can scream to the high tops, you know, the industry is so toxic and so blah blah blah. It really isn't. It's only toxic.
It's as toxic
if you make it
toxic as you make it. Yeah, exactly.
And the people that say that are the ones that are toxic. Yeah. So if the shoe fits, lace that bitch up and wear it. You know what I mean?
I get what a lot of people are saying because there's like you said, like what this whole fucking podcast is about. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and that in itself, like the toxicity, right, is to try to maintain this facade of perfection or just try to do another thing that's just stroking egos or doing shit for clout. It's just all the clout, just all of the, you know. And my happiest moments have been when I'm surrounded by creatives and other like minds. Like that's one of my favorite reasons with teaching is to be in a room filled with, because when I'm up there, one thing like that we always make abundantly clear is, oh, this is not a me show with a room full of people who are below me, beneath me. Right. We are the same. If you want, we can all stand or we can all sit. Like we're the same. Yeah. We're the same.
We don't take our shoes off.
I'm just hosting this class, or I'm just you know, I just got the mic for a minute.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same. Mm-hmm. And in those moments when I am surrounded by people where I can say things and they just fucking get it. Mm-hmm. Magic. Fucking magic. That makes me so happy. And it's like I'm sad. It makes me sad that some people can isolate themselves to that point because I just feel like they might not ever feel what that level of happiness is like, and that makes me sad. But you know, if they don't want it, I can't want it for them. Sometimes the ego, the clout, the fame
gets ahead of them.
That's it, you know. And if that makes them happy, even if it's fleeting, that's their life. Yeah.
Not my prerogative. I feel you though. It makes me sad too.
Yeah, because like this shit's awesome.
Yeah, this right? Cool. We're just a bunch of weirdos just chilling in a room, you know, talking shit.
Even if you did hate me.
Right.
I do like that I kind of like made it hard for you though, since we like the same kind of music and we're like, you know.
We look the same.
So tatted and stuff. Yeah.
And have that same, like, I usually wear chunky rings. I just don't have them on right now.
Yeah, my fingers are swelling. So.
Why?
Because I'm gripping this so tight. I keep failing it. And I'm like, please. I'm doing the thing that I called you out on. Like, where I'm just.
You're white knuckling.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, she made it really hard for me to hate her after a while because the more that she showed up on social media as herself, there are more commonalities that I saw. And I was like, fuck. This fucking person's the same as me. Why? I still fucking hate her. But like the hate just started to digress as I started to not give a fuck, you know? Yeah. And as that ego started fleeting away. And then she randomly followed me one day. It was kind of recently. And not that I had forgotten, but I'd forgotten about all that stuff, you know? So then she'd followed me and I was like, oh my God. And then we started commenting on each other's stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I want to have this person on my podcast because I hated her for my ego. I love her for my ego. I appreciate who she is because there's a influx of I call them influencers, but influx of people now on social media who are now showing up authentically as themselves, which I really enjoy. So I want this person on my podcast because she actually is the message of the fuck you mentality, despite the fact that the history of me not liking her so much.
You're like, you you fit the bill. Yeah. Like, yeah. No, I don't know. I know what that's like though. I mean, obviously if you've been in this industry, you see these people that they have, I want to say that they have what you want, but it's not always just that. It's like, you're where I want to be.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Whereas us now can be like, all right, how help me, like, person.
Yeah.
How if you want to share, just help me. I always tell people, I'm like, message them, message people. Message me. You know, I might not have the time to send you the exact formula for something. God, right. So if you've ever messaged me and I didn't send you an exact formula, don't be mad. Bitch. Yeah, don't be mad. That shit's different. If you message me and you're like, hey, I'm like trying to do this, like, yeah, I want to help people. Like, I want to help people get there. Like, I had help. I asked for help. You know, but you ask for help. Yeah. Ask for help or advice, insight. Like, nobody tells you, like, nobody talks about, like, how the whole education dynamic's supposed to work with, like, host salons and stuff. Like I told you, I had taught at Sarah, Mel, and Kelsey's salon, Witch Hazel in Indy. And I said that right. You three are all, yeah. Okay. And it's just that was a little different because, like, I knew Sarah, so I could ask her, like, hey, is this run of the mill? Is this normal? Like, is this usually what you provide? But, like, nobody's really talking about, like, the behind the scenes, like, how ticket sales work, or because there's not one way, right? And everyone does it a little bit differently. And so I would reach out, ask for help, insight, advice. Like, I'm not trying to have, like, a cheat sheet. Just people still get a little iffy about that because they're like, I had to figure it out, so you have to figure it out. No,
that's not how this works.
No. It's more like, hey, I did this. I don't know if it's right, but it worked for me. You give it a shot. All people message me all the time, which this is always the biggest fucking compliment because I stumble and struggle with my words all the time. But the way, like, you worded this beautifully. Do you care if I'm like, use it, copy and paste it? Don't fucking care. Not upset. Thank you for messaging me. Like, or they'll tag me, give me credit. I'm like, oh, forehead kiss. Thank you. Like,
kiss on your forehead.
Yeah, but you don't even have to do that. But thank you. Thank you. No, just help other people. Like, it's just a good fucking deed, man. Just help others. Yeah.
There's something so simple about this whole industry, you know, that I've, like, the common thread is just help people and kind of hang out and just talk. And it's not as convoluted or as, like, intricate as as like social media makes it seem, you know? Yeah. Because I'm sure I'd looked at you like this before too. I should say not now, but I don't, because I get it now. Yeah. But I'm sure people look at, like, the education, it's just like, oh my God, like, that is so much. Like, there's, like, that just seems like a lot, or like they just seem like they have it together. Like, it's this whole process, and really it's just like people asking people and just talking, and that's really it. Yeah. Education is meant to be, this is what works for me. Take it how you know, however you want, you know? I do have a problem with the education side, or the education of our worlds that's like, you can be the world's best star. Be this influencer hairstylist. This is how you do it. You'll make $1,000 bajillion. Do it this way. You're going to be so successful. And then the stylist takes the class and they don't actually become that. But I digress. That's the only side of the industry that I don't love.
What a soft pitch,
right?
$1,000 bajillion.
$1,000 bajillion.
I want to make $1,000 bajillion.
That sounds amazing. Sign up. Fucking there's something that's been in the back of my mind, both everything that you keep saying to me, and it, like, clicked. There is one side that is clout, instant gratification, just this, like, wow effect. It's just to get people's attention, right? Yeah. And then there's the other side where it's just people being people. Yeah. And I will never sit here and say one's wrong or one's bad or whatever the case may be, but I will say this, and mark my fucking words. Building a career based off of clout and lack of respect and just the wow factor, it falls short. It is not sustainable.
It's hollow.
It's hollow. It is lifeless. It means nothing, because that 1 hour of fame will die out, and so will your career. So just do me a favor. Dig deep. Don't be afraid to be who you are. Just, open up the chest a little bit,
So
just a little.
I want to add to that a little bit.
Please do.
Like,
Light it
Me and
up.
Sarah were talking about it last night.
Light
like,
it the
what
fuck up.
To talk about? She's like, talk about how you won an award once. I was like,
Oh.
I changed it in my bio. I was like, I won an award once, because nobody tells you, like, you don't know how you're supposed to feel about that, because
you want to know. I want to talk about that too. So please go,
Yeah.
go, roll it out, baby. Let's go.
So we enter these challenges, right?
Yeah.
If you choose to, and you enter them, and you're like, I'm not gonna fucking win. This is so stupid. I can't do this. It's all a scam anyways. It's all fake. It's not real. Whatever you've thought, I thought it too. I think it too. So I still look back at that day because it's just wild, right?
Mm-hmm.
So winning that was 2021 because it was 2 years of entries because of COVID, because 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So they canceled that one, and it was 2 years of entries. And we were all just spread so thin and just fucking out here. We're like, everything is fine. Just keep entering these
keep swimming,
hair pictures while
yeah.
people are dying. This is
literally.
Yeah. So it was wild. So to win that was like, I could sit here and be like, it was the dream come true. It's not that. It was, I couldn't believe it. Like, there was no speech. There was nothing planned. I did not know. I had no idea. What I need to feel like, I'm like, let me just put some respect on my name. Chris Webber was top 5. We know he's an icon. He's incredible. There were so many people like up there. I can't remember exactly. I know Linson was one of them. Like, just
Love
very,
Linson.
just iconic work. Please know that I'm not under any illusion that my work was the most amazing work that it was. That's what makes it so special. I still won.
Yeah.
So I did not expect that. So after that, like, I'm just like, holy shit. So there's so much imposter syndrome. If you don't have ego, if you actually don't think you shit rainbows, like you're just the shit, the imposter syndrome, the come down. I actually had a handful of past BTC one shot winners message me. They're like, hey dude, how you doing? I was like, wow, thank you for reaching out. Not great actually, because
I remember
how
this.
the fuck did I win that? Like, then because at first you're like, oh my god, I won, and then they come down, you're like, how the fuck did I win that?
Like I don't deserve this.
Was I just the small town gal that they're like, we need to get inspiration up. Let the
it's just business.
Underdog win this year.
Yeah.
We'll get a lot of entries next year. So I don't know. I went back and forth with it, but you feel like a husband. Like, well, not just like a husband. Like, it's such a high, and not a high where I'm like, wow, I'm the shit, because I don't really get off.
You don't.
Stuff
Yeah,
like that.
you're not
really
that
work.
kind of person.
It doesn't work for me. It doesn't feed me.
Yeah.
So, but your brain goes, all right, you won. So what now? What next? You got to keep going forward. So nobody really talks about, like, if you win something like that, great. You know what you do now? You keep going. Like, nobody cares that you won an award now. No, that's the thing. It's like, so many people that weren't in the hair world that like love me and love to see exciting stuff that I do. They're like, oh my god, how cool! Like, what do you win? I'm like, well, nothing. I'm so happy you asked. Nothing.
Like, piece of paper, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what the world looks like.
No, like I've got this little award that I like dust off every now and again.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm keeping it right fucking there forever because I would be a fraud to say that I'm not proud of that.
Right.
Like, I'd be like, it's not really. I love to watch people accept awards. I'm not saying you have to cry. You don't have to do a full Miss America like I did. Like, I never. Like, it was a lot. But to see people be like, wow, that's cool, man. Like, I'm like, really? Oh. Do we have a third person joining?
Apparently. I'm sorry, guys, if you can hear this audio. Hold on. I'm going to pause. I apologize. We were really interrupted by the serviceman fixing apparently what looks like the ceiling. We should whisper for him. I'm kidding. I hate this. So you get an award, and then it's like, then what? People are like, oh my god, you got an award, and it's like, yeah, that's it. You just keep going.
You just keep going.
Yeah, you just keep moving forward.
And you just enter it all over again.
And then just keep going.
Just keep going. It's a fucking cycle. I mean, I'm not saying don't try. Like, definitely try. It's amazing. But like, I love to talk about that day and that moment and the thing that will always. I wouldn't even care if I didn't have like a physical little award. Miss Sarah was right next to me, actually. And in the recording that she was, because she was recording, because she just knew. You hear her say, I didn't know that, but like, she said, "You're going to fucking win. You're going to fucking win." And she says, my friend who I met on the internet, who's sitting next to me, says, "You're going to fucking win. You deserve this." No one knew that I was going to.
Chills.
And
Stop.
it should, because I love that I have any kind of moment to actually talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I never really knew how to like approach it and like make people care, because this part mattered. People were calling me by name. People in that room I met on the internet. They said they were screaming Julie when the top 5 was up there. Mm-hmm. Chris Webber is up there, and I just can't. I love him. Mm-hmm. I love him so much. I'm obsessed with him. They were saying Julie, and I don't care if I didn't win. I remember hearing my name, and so like the boo-hooing, that's a little girl. Mm-hmm. That's a little girl who was really lonely. She was an only child. She's never felt that. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't about winning. It was about just having people that I love so much and I want to see them win too, want that back for me. I want that. And I heard my friends, so my buddies Danny and Maddie, mm-hmm. I had a group of friends. They had to sit in the back because of the way they fucking section everything off. I won't go into it. I could hear them.
Just screaming for me. And that is not about clout. It is not because, I'm winning, I'm at the top, I've beat it. Mm-hmm. No, that was the happiness. Again, even if they were like, Chris Webber, you won, we'd be like, well, yeah. Well, yeah.
I just, wow, that moment was super fucking cool, because it was like, you did something right for people to know who you are by name. Mm-hmm. Because how many times you follow people and you're like, fuck, I know their handle. What's their actual name?
Right.
What's their actual name? Because they're actual people.
Yeah.
So I approach my platform differently. I am more personal and I open up a little bit differently. So
people remember who you are.
People to come into my life, and that was not strategic so that I could get something out of it. It was because I think my whole approach with connection has mostly been like loneliness, or feeling like I'm alone, and like my mental health stuff. And so you're not. Mm-hmm. You just have to be vulnerable, and that's uncomfy for a lot of people. So yeah. Sorry. I'm back.
That is the common thread with, I feel like, the industry as well, and the lack of camaraderie, is that people are scared to be vulnerable. Yeah. It's a really scary thing. God, it's so fucking terrifying. I want to touch base on the award too. What I hear, like the common thread with that too, is a lot of people. I'm really glad that you talked about it. I will say that. Let me backtrack.
Also, thanks for letting me talk about it, because I was like, hey, do you want to hear about how I won an award once?
I'm like, no, I don't. Ew,
no. I already told you I hate
you. You fucking gosh. Just add to the layer it on like a goddamn layered cake. I'm kidding. Wait for the cherry on top now. I'm really glad you talked about that, because there's a huge thing with the industry, and everyone's like, like BTC like chooses people, and it's all paid, and it's all this, and it's all that. And I'm here to tell you, okay? The people that do talk about that, we know who fucking loves talking about BTC.
Oh yeah.
If they chose to do that, so fucking be it.
Right.
Because BTC, at the end of the day, let's just say if it was true or not, whatever, they felt that person deserved to win. Right? So they felt that person deserved that kind of happiness. Regardless if money's involved, big corporate, what the fuck ever. Who cares, right? And it's unfortunate that people truly think that, I should have won because that person only won because they have money, or they have a following, whatever the case would be. Have we forgotten how hard that person has worked to get that following and that money?
Right.
Did we forget that? Right. And so be it. What if, which isn't true, obviously, if they chose to pick people based off of notoriety or whatever the case would be, they fucking deserve it. If Chris Webber were to win that, he fucking deserves that. Yeah. He worked so fucking hard to get to where he is right now. So what? And the fact that you won, and you have just openly said on this podcast that you didn't know that you were going to win. You were in a lineup that you never thought you would even be in, right? Yeah. And you won. And those who can shit talk BTC all day till they're blue in the face, get over yourself. Seriously, build a goddamn bridge and get over yourself. Because those who continue to shit talk BTC and any fucking company out there,
specifically to the award show, because like I know a lot of people that have a lot of negative situations because of personal experience, and it's like that sucks because we've all had some bad situations with brands, but like the awards in general, like the one shot stuff too. Yeah.
Well, so yeah, the one shot, right? Mm-hmm. Stop. Just let people be happy, man. I'm sorry that you didn't win. I'm genuinely, I'm sorry that you didn't win. Try again.
Right.
It's just an award. I hate to say that, but it is. And it's unfortunate that a lot of our community put a lot of value in themselves in this award. Just be happy for the people who win. You know, it sucks when you're a sore loser. You know, and to hear how happy it made you feel, not the fact that you won the award. It's the fact that there's this group of people that knew you by name and was screaming. I remember seeing the videos. It was everywhere. Just screaming, and you're sobbing, right? You can't even walk. Like, you're just hysterical.
If you ever need to be humbled, just look at yourself crying.
Literally. Especially like to be taken out like that, you know, like la 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 la, and they're like Julie Smith, and you're like, I wasn't, you know. That's a raw and a genuine emotion.
It seemed a bit extreme, the clip. Like, it's like that reaction for a win. It's like, however you respond to winning something, that's your prerogative. Yeah. But I feel like no one knew that I had really sweet people next to me already telling me, because they just believed wholeheartedly that I was winning and that I deserved to win. Oh God, it was just, I laughed because I'll fucking cry. I'll fucking cry all over again, because that shit just, wow. It's special. Mm-hmm. So whether it was staged, whether they just wanted me to win or not,
who cares?
I still worked really hard.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have the best work. You just have to like try.
That's it.
You just have to try, and then you win, and then you keep going, and you keep creating. Mm-hmm. Or you don't win. But one thing I've learned is, like, when your people win, we win. Bitch, we won. And so that was we had a group text, and we still have it. It's called Winner's Circle. Mm-hmm. Because the next year, Maddie won.
Yeah. I saw that.
And me and Danny walked her like these, like we were proud parents at a wedding. And sent her off. It was so late. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning too. So yeah, it was. Bitch, we won. Mm-hmm. We won. Not because you need the win, not because you just like feel like you have to win, but like that's my friend.
That's my girl.
That's my friend. Yeah. And if you don't know what that feels like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I can't tell people what they need to do. Nope. But that's hollow.
We can just say there is so much more life to be lived with people in your corner.
Yeah.
I actually made an episode about this. About just your life, your success changes when you let people in and when you actually have people in your corner.
Yeah.
And I will say this, you don't have to. Life, that is such a sad way of life. If you choose to live in this negativity of, you know, it's just about me, it's my success, fuck everybody else, whatever the case may be, it is sad. And I do feel bad for them, genuinely. And because I wish the happiness that I have now, you know, speaking on loneliness, I get it. Childhood trauma, you know, not having that. Now as an adult, I can now understand where that comes from. And I allow people in, and I'm vulnerable, and I'm talking, and I'm reaching out, and I want to create this thing. The vision of success that I have for myself has totally fucking changed. It's not about me. When I eat, you eat. When you eat, she eats. And when we're eating, we eat together.
Yep.
That's just the morality of it all. And that whether people think it's right, wrong, or indifferent, that is the right way of life. I don't care what anyone says. That is just, I will die as Lisa G. I will never die as a hairdresser. I will never die as a podcaster. I will never die as an educator. I will die as Lisa G.
Period.
Mic drop. Throws the mic on the ground. Guys, if you're listening, I know it's an hour and 23 minutes long. This is literally my longest podcast I've ever done in my life. I'm really glad that it was the first one done in person, and that it was done with Julie. Julie's just a very raw, authentic individual, and he's just honest. Like that's all I want. That's all we need, right? And human connection, or humans naturally crave vulnerability and connection, and what happens with connection is vulnerability, right? Yeah. So I appreciate your vulnerability on the podcast, and I appreciate your authenticity.
Thank you.
It's hard to show up. You know, it's hard to just be honest, you know, especially facing a lot of these things in front of you. I'm proud of you for getting that award. I think that's fucking incredible.
Thank you.
I think I'm happy that you have these people in your life, you know, not knowing your history, but it doesn't matter. Just to know that you have these people in your life, that you're supporting, you're loved, and you have someone who came with you to this podcast. That's fucking huge. I wish that for everybody, and I especially wish it for you.
Very good friends.
You do. And that's inspirational to me, because that tells me that I can have it too. You know? Just like how I hated you for what you had.
Bitch, we're friends.
I look at you now.
Lisa G.
I can have that.
Julie Smith. Julie S. Lisa G.
We're gonna fuck shit up, motherfuckers. That got really weird. Sorry. It's just nice. It's just nice that in all the craziness that has gone on and has transpired in the world, it's just nice to know that people have people, you know?
Yeah. God, yeah. Because sometimes
sometimes all you have.
Like,
sometimes all you have.
I won't go into another topic because we are bringing this to a close, but like, food for thought. What are you if you're not a hairdresser? Who are you?
Right.
Who are your people? Do you have anything else? Is that all you have?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's good to work really hard in this industry and do something that you're proud of and be passionate about. Well, what else are you? Like, is there anything else at all? Do you have other people? Like, what are you left with?
Right. Strip that away. What else do you have?
What else do you have?
Just like, you know, when you're a mom, you become a mother.
It's a hard one.
It's a hard one.
It's a hard
right?
one. Yeah.
Your mom to a child when they are grown up. What else do you have?
What else do you have? You gotta have something.
You gotta have you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That was gonna be my next question. I always ask, if you could say one piece of advice, what would it be?
It was that.
It was that.
Just pour into yourself, man. It's never just gonna be one thing. I just think, like, yeah, I'm gonna stick with that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I think to kind of summarize this glorious, probably best episode on this podcast right now, I think the key to this whole thing is you just have to do it, right? Do it and do it scared.
Do it scared.
Never be afraid to ask for help. Help is really important. Help is crucial with your success individually and physically with your career and whatever else. And yeah, it's the only way that you can truly give to others, especially in this industry, in any type of shape or form. You got to give to yourself first. And at the end of the day, if you were to strip away your job as a hairdresser, what else are you? Yeah, that's that. Julie, again, thank you so much for fucking flying out here. And Sarah also as well. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come out here. Jess, who is my lovely executive assistant who is helping me with this right now. Thank you so much for helping. Guys, I love all of you so much for supporting this insane idea. This podcast was never going to be a podcast. It was just a thought process. But here we are now. Definitely a lot of imposter syndrome right now as I have this group of people in this room. But
you're
again,
the coolest person. I love. You're so cool, dude. Like, I love this. Your whole thing is amazing. You should be proud of this. I told you that I couldn't wait to come out here and celebrate you. This is cool.
Thanks.
It's really cool.
It's a lot of fun.
It really does sound fun.
Like, you got with me. Thank you all so much for listening. I'll catch you on the next episode.